Hi and welcome to this week's edition of The Panel Guy. This is week 13 and yeah, it's been quite an interesting journey so far. I had a number of topics I wanted to talk about today, but over the weekend I watched the Netflix documentary on Grenfell, and yeah, it's a crazy and it's such an awful situation. But it's one of the reasons why we're here today, and this is why we're here to talk about, you know, what's right and what's wrong. Cladding obviously comes in three different ways. You've got facades, so you've got facade cladding, like what you saw in Grenfell and lots of buildings all over the country and all over the world. You've got built-up cladding, which is you know, two skins of trapezoidal steel with a bar and bracket and insulation in the middle, and then you have composite, which is what I'm here to talk about. So you have like things like these with the different types of insulation. So what I wanted to talk about is basically on the back of that is it's something I've been saying for a long time now. The problem with our industry is we're trying to do too much with our panels, and the thing is, you know, we've got two types of, you've got foam and you've got mineral wool, and you know, they can be used in roofing, they can be used in external walls, internal walls, ceilings, flooring even, you know, so that's what we're trying to talk about, and that's what we're trying to get the best of. The reason it's important, and obviously you know, the reason it is important we have this conversation is because you know, the PIR, polyurethane, phenolic, different types of foam core that you see on the market, there's no better insulant. You know, in terms of thermal performance, the U values they can achieve, the lightweight, even for flatness on an external facade. When you know, if you're looking for a flat or a micro panel, because they tend to be made from injected foam on a continuous production line, it enables you to get a flatter finish on the panel. Whereas with a mineral wool, rock wool, glass wool panel, you always have the visual effects of the lamellas underneath, or the joins of the Conrock slabs, what you get in the construction. So what I'm trying to basically say is, because it's something I've been working on for the last couple of weeks for clients. They asked me for help to try and find a fire-rated PIR wall panel system, like a microbe system, with no stitch joints, because the current system that they're using, and they have been using for a couple of years now, comes with stitch joints and intumescent tapes. Now that's, you know, there's, you know, very common in the UK and you know, in some parts of Europe, but the majority of manufacturers around Europe, obviously from the research I've done and the companies I've been talking to, they don't do that. You know, they test the panel the way it's meant to be installed without any additional measures, you know, like stitch joints and things, and it then flags up the question of, well, why do you need to do all of that? Why do panels have that? Because ultimately it is still a combustible product. You know, PIR, polyurethane, phenolic, you know, these types of panel systems, they only come with, you know, anything from, you know, they will say E30 or E60 or E45 or whatever. A fire rating, and I don't think it's just my opinion, should always be EI. E is the integrity, I is insulation. And we want to make sure that when a firewall is required, we want to make sure that, you know, things like this, you know, the mineral wool core type panel are used because they are non-combustible. That's what they're designed for. This is the strength of this product. You know, non-combustibility is the main benefit of this product. I know that you get acoustics and you can get good structural spanning capabilities, you know, end to end with columns, you know, with the through fixed panel, but if you want fire-rated systems, you should always be using, you know, a non-combustible panel. You know, there's lots of other weaknesses with these types of panels. You know, the PIR polyisocyanurate. You know what the cyanurate is. That's what the black smoke is when the events of a fire. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I'm just stating facts. You know, if you are looking for a flat panel system, you know, a thermally efficient building, here you go, this is the best products on the market. You know, it doesn't matter what anybody tells you, this is the best products on the market. But if it's got to be fire rated, use this. Use the product what's made for that. This is what's made for. And this is what we're just trying to say. You know, again, whatever type of application you're building, you know, whether it's residential, whether it's commercial, retail, industrial, technology, you know, if it has to be fire rated, always make sure you use a non-combustible core. And this is why I'm trying to do this. This is why I'm trying to put some positivity back into the industry. So hopefully, you know, again, you know, I don't want anybody coming back at me. You know, I have had a couple of comments, you know, over the past couple of weeks that I'm being negative. It isn't. We've got two different types of panel systems. Both have their own benefits. Both have their own positives, but they also have their own weaknesses. And that's what we want to make sure that, you know, people understand. You know, it's, yes, you know, they're great at what they do visually. You know, you've got two micro finished panels here. But we want to make sure that, you know, the right products are used in you know, in the sectors and the you know, and the specifications they're used for, and that's why I offer this service. You know, obviously we've got a consultation, and we have done a couple for a couple of clients, but we want to make sure that, you know, if you are or if you have chosen a product, you know, has it been installed correctly? And that's why I ask these questions, because with, you know, a few of the PIR panels which have been required for a you know, an E30 or an E15 or EI30, whichever the specification is, there may be some additional measures you have to take, like the stitch joints, the intermeshants, and, you know, you see installation guidelines coming out every week. The truth of it is, the installation guidelines just show the basic way of installing panels, and that's fine, and that's great. That's obviously, you know, as manufacturers, we have to give recommendations and we have to tell people how to install our panels. But if the specification calls for fire rating, we need to publish those details, and we need to tell people how to install correctly. And that's the issue. That's the issue what I want to make sure. As we seen a couple of weeks ago with Kingspan and with Rookie, and, you know, and with 10X panel as well, they actually share the certification online. So this certification will actually tell you whether it needs to take additional measures, the fixing centers, those kind of things. And that's great. That's what we're trying to do. That's what we want to do. We want to make sure the positivity is there. We can, you know, it's not just about, you know, marketing or, you know, look how great our panels are. We've got to make sure that, you know, we have a responsibility to tell the installers, the architects, how these panels are installed. You know, it's not just on a glossy brochure with an assumption of load spans and fire ratings and acoustic, you know, thermal performances. We want to make sure that these are done correctly. So yeah, so, you know, if you have any doubts about your specification, your projects, whether it's new, whether it's something that's been built a while and you're not quite sure, give me a call. You know, I can come and have a look at it for you. I can come and check it for you. Make sure the project is built correctly, is installed correctly. You know, it's to, you know, it's not just to the installation details, also to regulation as well. That's what I'm here to help with. So yeah, please get in touch, and you know, and let me see if I can help you. But yeah, if you do get a chance, please do watch the Grenfell documentary on Grenfell. You know, Pete Apps and the team who've put the documentary together, amazing, absolutely amazing. It's fantastic, really good. I don't mean that from, you know, from that way, because it's an absolute tragedy, and I hope that the families and the community, I hope they get some justice soon. You know, it's gone on a long time now, and you know, and you know, we're here. We had the findings of the inquiry. And it's important now that you know, some peace and some justice is brought to the families. So please, you know, if you get a chance, please watch it. You know, it's a really good and insightful documentary. So yeah, please make sure you watch that. But I say, you know, next week hopefully we'll try and talk about some of the manufacturers that we was going to talk about this week. But yeah, it's important that we discuss, you know, the things that panels are here for, and that what they're used for, and what's the strengths and the weaknesses. So yeah, please, please, you know, if you've got any questions, if you're a manufacturer, if you've got any, if you're an architect, designer, if you've got some issues, you've got some queries, please get in touch. That's what I'm here for. And yeah, thanks very much for joining in again. And hopefully I'll see you next week. Yeah. Any questions, please drop me an email, info@panelguy.net, and yeah, hopefully I'll see you soon. Okay, take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.